guilty.
Why? How beautiful is it?
It was like the cat's gonna attack me. Sorry. It was like 75 today. I was sweaty outside.
Stop rubbing it in. Oh,
sorry.
Oh, look at your cat. Is that a Bengal cat?
Yes, he is, but she is, but she likes to play rough.
Oh my god.
I'm a little bit afraid. My son's cat, actually, but
I love cats. Hey Betsy, I know you also. It's
hello.
good to see you.
It is freezing. I'm gonna go grab the space heater from the other room. I'll be right back.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
A webinar.
I do not have space heater issues. Like Sandy, today we were, I think about 75 was our high today. Although we did have that cold front, a couple days ago, we had some really cold, unseasonable weather for us. But today, up to 70, 75.
Oh, see, that's my kind of weather. I can't wait to get back to Houston. Yes,
I know.
I'll be there. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so jealous. Oh, right. We have 17 people so far, and it's only 7:04. Oh my goodness. All right, who else is here? Just unmute. Tell me who you are. Where are you from? We have just about a minute before I get started. It's already going live. So come on, tell me who's here.
I'll go. Hi, I'm Jessa here in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Super excited to be here. And yeah.
I love having you. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
Sorry. Hello.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, and I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Great having you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marcella, Chicago, Illinois. I'm trying to figure out my camera because I'm like a blur.
Yeah, wipe the camera.
No, I did because I had a background and then I tried to take it off.
Okay.
And then it became a blur.
Okay.
Ooh. So let me keep trying.
Yeah. You might want to go out and come back in also. That might help.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We'll let you back in. We'll let you back in. All right. Who else? Who else is here? Thank you for being here today.
Betsy Markman. I'm in Pine Hill, New Jersey, and I used to be in Texas for 24 years, but now I'm in New Jersey.
Yeah, I remember reading that on our Facebook group, Betsy, and I was like, whoa, that's a big move from Texas to New Jersey. Lots of differences.
Wow. All right, I need to know, is it Rachel or Raquel? You have to unmute and let us know. What do you say about
Rachel? It's Rachel. I'm a native English speaker. Yeah.
All right. I was like, I need to know. Thank you so much for joining us. We have the chat going. We still have people coming in. And I'm trying to, it's already going live. So if you have any friends who want to watch it, it's live on my YouTube channel. I'm under Astrid Francis because I use my work Google account. So it's under Astrid Francis. But it will be on Twitter, it will be on Facebook, and we'll share that link later on. I used to do a follow-up email where, okay, if you missed a meeting, here's the link, but I don't do that anymore. I think we agreed at the beginning of the year that to reduce the amount of emails that we get, the first email you're gonna get is, hey, do you want to join? Here's the link. And really, that would be the only email you'll get from me unless I want to share something else with you. But Thank you for joining us tonight. We have a few people tonight, more than usual. So thank you for being here. This is our monthly PLC for newcomers, and the last one for 2022. So excited, super excited. And if you're new to this, it is just a group of us who teach newcomers, and we get together once a month to just learn from the best, to give us strategies and ideas and lessons and just ways that we can improve our practices in the classroom to teach newcomers in the classroom. So every month we meet, we listen from the best, and then we go into breakout sessions to learn from one another. We've had attendees who have also shared with us, and we've brought in authors. Like today, we have Valentina Gonzalez. I don't know why I hesitated to ask her. It's just so big to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what she'll say. But we always like to have those beautiful brains that can bring those juicy ideas to help us improve our practice. And so we meet once a month. You get an email from me about meeting, and we get together just like this. We learn together, and we also go into breakout sessions for about 10 minutes. There's a document that I will share with you. So right before you go in, there's a document that we all jot in any notes that we want to have. So we go into breakout rooms by grade level if you want to just chat with those who are in your grade level. So I do want to honor your time. I do want to thank you for being here tonight. I know it's a holiday, it's a break, and you just want to sit back and relax. But to me, this is kind of a relaxing thing, just enjoying being here with you. So Valentina, how about let you get started?
Thank you
I've known
so
Valentina for how many years, Valentina? It's just, I have learned so much from you through Twitter, through your blogs, through just chatting with you. We have each other's phone number. We have each other's addresses. So it's just so cool to know you as a friend, but also as a mentor. Your teachings are so and powerful to all of us. So without further ado, how about just having you at it? Teach us your best practices, and thank you everyone for being here today.
Thank you. Well, I think we've known each other, Emily, since 2016 or 2017. I believe it's been that long. Definitely 2017, but maybe 2016 is when we met online. And in face-to-face 2017, I believe. I'm really, really honored that you invited me. I would never say no to an opportunity to gather together with people that love the work we do and are so passionate and would come to something like this on a holiday evening. People that come, to gather and learn and refine our craft, join together on a holiday evening, are like the cream of the crop. Really, we are dedicated, passionate people, and I would never say no to that. So yes, thank you for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm going to share my screen so you can see along with me. There we go. Thumbs up. You can see it. My slide. Okay, awesome. We are talking about creating a sense of belonging, and I think this is an essential topic for our students who are newcomers, because they're finding themselves in possibly a new country where they're experiencing new language. And so this is a critical topic for those of us that work with newcomers. So being here in this space, PLC for newcomers, is really, really an honor. This is an outstanding community of advocates, and sharing time with you is definitely an honor. We're going to talk about how belonging affects our English learners, specifically our newcomer students, and what we can do to create that sense of belonging for our English learners. You're going to hear some stories, and you're also going to pick up a few practical ways to design spaces where our students can flourish in our classrooms. Some of you may already know me, a little bit about me. For those of you that don't know me, as Emily mentioned, I'm Valentina Gonzalez, and I'm a longtime educator and a longtime advocate for English learners. I've taught in the classroom as a reading and writing teacher and as an EL co-teacher alongside amazing educators, and learned so much from them. I also work to provide special services for newcomer ELs, mostly at the elementary level, kinder through 5th grades, and that was my absolute favorite role, working with newcomer students and their families. And, you know, throughout the school year, when we got word that a new student was coming from Korea or Japan or Venezuela or Russia, wherever it was, as soon as we heard word that we had a new student, a new family from a different part of the world, I was so excited. I want that. I want that child. I want that family. I want to work alongside of them. And so as we participate this evening, please feel free to take notes as you like. I would love to see sketch notes, but however you like, traditional style. I will ask you to record at least one glow. Like, this is an idea that I already do. I'm already doing this. And then one grow. Here's one new idea that I'm going to implement to create that sense of belonging for my newcomers and their families as well. All right, so a glow and a grow. Record a glow and a grow. Okay, so I want you to think in your mind. Don't type this yet. Don't write this yet anywhere. Just think in your mind of a place where you feel you truly belong. It can't be home, okay? Not your own home, but think of a place where you feel you truly belong. When I go to this place, I feel like I belong here. Get this place in your mind, picture it. And now, don't type this yet, but think of the qualities and characteristics this place has. What are the qualities and characteristics that this place has? And I'm going to ask you now to type these qualities and characteristics into this Slido. So if you'll take your phone, if you don't have your phone, you can type it in the chat, okay? But if you'll take your phone and hover over the QR code, it's going to give you access to this poll. You're going to type in the qualities and characteristics that this place has, this place that you feel you truly belong in. Let me give you a minute or two to access this and type. No judgment. Love that. And if you're not able to access this poll, feel free to type in the chat. But if you get into this poll, we can all see, you know, the words that come up. This place is comfortable. This place is warm and inviting. It's safe. A lot of people are typing in warm and comfortable. It's friendly. People with similar interests. There's laughter. They're happy to see me in this place. There's a sense of community and family there. There's sunshine. There's peace. It's inviting. Smiles and greeting. It seems organized. Again, there's safety. Just like Cheers, it's a place where everybody knows your name. I think of that too. I do, honestly. When I think of a place where I feel I truly belong, and those of you that don't know Cheers, you may be a little younger than whoever wrote that is probably Betsy smiling. It might be Betsy. I don't know, but no, it's not Betsy, but Betsy knows this feeling too. Here it is. The thing is, when you walk into a place and they know your name, you automatically feel like you have a sense of belonging. I used to go to a coffee shop. I don't go there anymore, but I used to go to this coffee shop. It was near my house. And it was like this. It was like Cheers. They knew my name. I walk in and they're like, Valentina. And they knew my coffee. They knew the coffee that I like. They knew how to make it exactly the way I like it. They even knew a little bit about me. They knew I had kids. They would ask how my kids are doing. Are they doing well in school? And if I didn't come for a few days, they missed me. Where have you been, Valentina? Why haven't you been here? Where were you? I belonged. I mattered in this coffee spot. These are the places that make us feel like we belong. On the other hand, there are places that don't recognize people for who they are. Have you ever sat at a table? It might be at a work setting, or you go to a conference, or maybe you think of family settings where there's the kids table and you have to sit there, or a circumstance where people aren't recognized for who they are. And they don't stop to get to know the individuals and find optimal spaces and resources for them. We want to be sure that the spaces that we create engage students so that they feel that sense of belonging. They recognize, the space recognizes students for who they are and what they contribute to the space itself. Many of you have heard how my family came to America from the former Yugoslavia, how we spoke Serbian in our home, and the way that I experienced school. Even that I was the first one in my family to graduate from high school and go to college, and the first to graduate from college too. That was my father's dream for us. I'm not here to share that story with you again. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about a story that I rarely share. And it's actually a story about the little kid next to me. So I'm going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to talk about this guy right here. He's a year and a half older than me, and he's my brother, Sasha. I don't talk about this story very often. And as many of you know, siblings don't always share the same experiences. They don't share, even though they may live in the same household, they may not share the same experiences as one another. Sasha repeated first grade when we came to America. Here's his second first grade class. I love this picture. I love this picture for many reasons. Here's Sasha right there. It might be hard to see him, but I'm going to zoom into this picture a little bit so you can see it a little clearer. I love this picture for a lot of reasons. Here it is. Let me zoom a little closer. It's hard to see, but his shirt, his shirt actually says USA, USA. He's standing right next to his teacher. And I think that was intentional. Mrs. Landis. I don't know if you can see Mrs. Landis very clearly, but Mrs. Landis looks like she could retire in this picture. She's not a first-year teacher or even a 10-year teacher. But that didn't stop her from making an impact. Mrs. Landis was a regular in our home. She made visits to our house and she shared books and work for us to do, not just for my brother, but somehow it benefited me also. Keep in mind that the only language Mrs. Landis and my mother had in common was body language. Smiles, kind eyes, gestures, and the warm hugs. And I will say that it helped that my mom served her coffee, like Turkish coffee, which, you know, was traditional in our home, and pastries that my mom made from scratch. And I think Mrs. Landis really enjoyed that. These were sweet memories that I remember from those days. But there were a lot of other childhood memories that tug at my heart for other reasons. My brother and I used to walk to school and home back and forth together, and it was not a really short walk. It was kind of a long walk. We didn't have transportation at that time. There wasn't a bus that could take us to and from school for that distance, and my dad was working early in the morning and late into the evening, and my mom didn't have a car to drive. She didn't have a license or a vehicle itself. So we walked. And it hurts me to think about the many times that he was beat up by a group of boys. The moment we stepped off of school property, I would try to run home as fast as I could to get my mom. But by the time that we both returned, the boys were gone and my brother was left there. Socially, it was extremely difficult for him. It was difficult in a lot of ways because we were still struggling with English ourselves as young kids. The clothes we wore were not the cool clothes. They weren't the cool clothes. I have pictures, you know, he wasn't wearing jeans that fit him right. It was all hand-me-downs or garage sale clothes. This took a toll on him emotionally. And it didn't begin to be evident for many years until he grew a lot older. Sasha is a brilliant artist. He was very smart with technology. But remember, I told you, I'm the first one that graduated from high school. I'm the first one who went to college. You might recall that I said that. Belonging affects academics. When students feel they belong, they're emotionally connected, then they can be academically invested. But what happens if the opposite is their reality? Belonging is a feeling that we infer from our circumstances. Belonging is a feeling that we engage in from the events around us and the relationships we have with others. It's a feeling that we have. We either feel we belong or we feel we don't belong. And it affects our emotions and our academics. Our nation continues to be a place of hope and promise for a better life and a better future for millions of families and students. How are we creating these classrooms and schools and communities when they leave our school grounds that embrace people as they are without making them feel incompetent or less than because they're different, because they speak a language other than English, or because they have different experiences? How are we doing that? The terms assimilation and acculturation are thrown out a lot. And sometimes they're used interchangeably in education, but they are very distinct. Assimilation means that we ask people to become like others, to shed their identities, to lose their cultural roots and traditions, and to be like the majority. On the other hand, acculturation is the idea that we can belong in a group or the society just the way that we are and appreciate each other's differences. We can learn from one another and we can make the community better because of our differences, because we are different. Those who acculturate can balance cultures and traditions. I can be Serbian and eat Serbian foods and do my Serbian traditions and learn about American traditions and participate in American traditions. One of my favorite researchers, she's a Texan too, Dr. Brene Brown, I had a quote of hers a moment ago, also says that any belonging that asks us to betray our own selves is not true belonging. She continues to say that true belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. And this is important for our students to understand as well, because there's such a pull for kids to feel they need to fit in. This is really common, especially in middle and high school. Even as kids get older, they feel like, oh, I need to be part of this social group. I need to fit in, so I have to be like everybody else. But the more they understand that their uniqueness is their superpower, all kids, not just our English learners, not just our newcomers, the more they understand that this is their power, the younger they are that they understand this, the more powerful they can become with themselves. When we embrace acculturation in our classrooms and our schools and our districts and our communities, we truly see and understand our students and their families from their assets, knowing that they're valuable humans who can totally think and feel and learn, and that they have things to offer us, that they have things to offer to our society. Yes, our students will acquire new language, but they're also learning content through the ears of new language. The safe spaces we create make a difference in their daily progress and success. That's the importance of belonging. And so how do we make this practical? How do we ensure, what are the day in, day out things that we can do to create that sense of belonging? These are some beautiful examples, beautiful multilingual word walls from real classrooms, from real teachers who shared them. And imagine moving to a new country. For example, if you moved somewhere else across on the other side of the world where you didn't know the language of instruction, but you saw a word wall, a multilingual word wall that had your home language on it as well. So inviting, so affirming, so welcoming, but also comprehensible. Now I can participate. And when I can participate, I can begin to learn as well. I belong. I feel invited to participate. I'm part of this classroom. These are just two examples. Here are a couple more examples of the same practicality. Like, we can do this. These are things we can actually do in our classrooms. These walls scream, you belong just the way you are. Your language belongs. Your identity belongs. We all belong. and you don't have to change who you are. The reality is that our students who are acquiring English have that linguistic foundation that may be other than English. And if we rely solely on the new language, then we limit their ability to participate. And when I can't participate, then I don't feel I belong. I'm disconnected. The more I disconnect, the less I belong, the less I learn. That first language, that home language, is part of our identity. And it has to be part of instruction too. It has to be part of the classroom. We have to invite it, encourage it, include it, embrace it. If we don't, then we're simply ignoring it. And when we ignore it, we're ignoring part of our students too. These are some examples of using students' first language in resources, in books. This is becoming more and more common. Teachers are finding ways to bring in students' first languages in the resources in the classroom. When I worked in a school district outside of Katy, we began to invest in books in our students' first languages. I can tell you that it's not easy, but it's doable. And so one of the first things I did is I connected with my campus librarian, and we investigated our top 10 languages on the campus. And we began to build a stock of books in languages other than English. And we just continued to build it, one step at a time. You have to start somewhere. Here are some other resources to use for books in other languages, online resources. These are just a few ideas. Language Lizard, Polylino, Linda Letro, Lee and Lowe, just a few. I know you probably have others. Please type them in the chat if you know other resources that offer books in languages other than English. We can learn so much from each other, so please include those in the chat, and we can talk about them in our breakout rooms or in the Q&A as well. As humans, we need to see ourselves and our experiences outside of ourselves in order to discover who we are and how we connect with the world around us. Everyone should feel that, not just one certain demographic. And so picking books for our students, looking at our classroom library becomes essential to belonging. These statistics here on the screen really slapped me in the face one day when I saw them, when I realized so many of the books in our classrooms on library shelves are books with main characters that are either white or inanimate objects and animals. 77% are main characters that are white or inanimate objects or animals. That does not represent the students I work with. And I thought, there's no way that my bookshelf is like that. And that was the moment I took action. I literally took all the books off my shelves and I categorized them. And I realized my bookshelf was just as bad as this statistic. And I began to make a difference in the books I was buying and the books I was offering to my students, because I needed them to connect with the literature they were seeing. I needed them to see themselves in the literature. And I also wanted everyone in the classroom to learn about people that were different from them, to see others' experiences and build empathy. One of my friends, Dr. Jim Ewing, says that visuals are powerful. In fact, he says that we often stress the linguistic support. That's something we do as teachers of English learners a lot. We use a lot of visuals. But one thing he says is that visuals won't work if students themselves don't visualize themselves in the curriculum. And that was a huge aha moment for me. How are my kids visualizing themselves? Do they see themselves on the walls? Do they see themselves not only in my classroom, but in the rest of the building? What are they seeing? What are they exposed to in the front office, in the cafeteria, in the library, in their other teachers' classrooms? Because this affects them too. The sense of belonging cannot just be when they're with me. That's not fair. I need this sense of belonging everywhere. They need to see themselves in the curriculum as much as possible in order to feel relevant and connected to the community. Otherwise, once they leave this little nest where we work together, they lose that sense of connectedness. That's why it's so important that we have great authors like Emily Francis, and we choose books where students can see themselves and grapple with their lived experiences. And I know many of you already have this book, but if you don't, and Emily, I'm sorry if I'm embarrassing you by talking about this, but I just think it's such a gift. Our students need to read from books where they can feel less alone, that they can see something and say, you know, this is relevant to me. This is important to me. I had the same experience. Or learn from others' experiences because they haven't ever heard of this before. Or picture books. This is a picture book that's upcoming, a new picture book, soon to be released, where they can learn about culture and traditions and languages. All kids benefit from literature like these examples. And these are just a couple, not just our English learners, but we build empathy by reading about people who are different from us. We build that sense of belonging by providing students with resources that they can connect with and see themselves in. Remember earlier when I mentioned that quote from Dr. Brene Brown? Any belonging that asks us to betray ourselves is not true belonging. So if we ask students to leave their language behind, or if we ignore their language, we may be asking them to betray their true selves. In the US, English is such a focal language, so focal. But what if, just imagine, what if instead of focusing on English, we focus first more on the child individually, the student entirely, and we begin from there and move forward? This is where we can start to build that belonging. And when we have that, we can truly move students toward the gifts that they have academically. Keeping in mind that, you know, there's absolutely nothing to fix about a child who's acquiring additional language. We aren't intervening or erasing or removing anything. Instead, we're building these amazing bilingual or multilingual people. We're part of that. Wow, that's so incredible. We get to be part of the building of bilingual minds. That's just an amazing thing to think of. Not everyone has that type of gift and journey. When we let kids know that, you know, as a newcomer, you are not blank. You are filled with amazingness. You are filled with gifts. All of your prior knowledge and experience, all that you have behind you, within you, your family, all of that those are the assets that we're going to use to help you continue to acquire knowledge and language. I first heard Oki Lee say that as ESL or bilingual teachers, our job is to keep the content and amplify the language. And I was just like so filled with joy to hear this. Here's the thing, belonging also means that ELs, our newcomer students, are provided with high quality grade level curriculum. This is true belonging. We don't want them to be left on the sidelines, sitting in the corner doing menial work while their grade level peers are engaging in rich instruction. We want them to understand that they are capable of doing grade level content. They're cognitively capable, but we're going to support them along the way. We're going to be there to guide them and give them the linguistic and academic support that they need through comprehensible instruction, language-rich comprehensible instruction. That says you belong. High expectations, you got this, you can do it, infused with rich experiences for language and comprehensible input. If I put them on the sidelines and have them coloring or doing below grade level babyish work, that's like being put at the kid table on Thanksgiving dinner or at the kid table at a wedding reception. That doesn't send the message of belonging. We're not thinking about the whole child when we do that. We have to start from where they are and remember that their minds are thinking, and that might mean that there's a time for wait. As educators, that wait time is important, and it also sends a message of belonging. I'm going to give you time to think this through, process, and translate. This is important in our classrooms just as much as opportunities to talk with peers. That wait time for processing and giving them the opportunity to share what they have to say, even if it's just one word, or if it's a word or phrase in their first language. We give them opportunities to think, process, and verbalize in the way that they can. Young ELs may not recognize the beauty and power of their potential bilingualism or multilingualism, but we can help them recognize and see the wonderful human capital that they are cultivating. They may not have it yet, but we're helping them cultivate that and encourage them to be proud of that gift that's growing in their heart and in their mind, especially in those middle and high school years when that peer pressure is so strong to, be like everybody else and just try to blend in. And we want to show them not the cool thing to do. Stand out and be proud of who you are, the languages you speak, and the culture you have that makes you unique. I'm going to share with you a few resources so that even after our time today, we can continue to connect and learn from one another. The first one is the Facebook group. The first one is the website, where I share a lot of blog and information. Feel free to scan that. It's valentinaesl.com. A lot of free resources there. In fact, a lot of the infographics that I had on this slide deck, you can download them there for free. Many people love that. The middle one is the website for the book Reading and Writing with English Learners that I co-wrote with Dr. Melinda Miller. And the last one is the Facebook group Advocating for ELLs, which is a wonderful Facebook group. I think many of you are already in it, but those of you that are watching in replay, maybe you'd like to join as well. We'd love to have you. And like I mentioned, the graphics that I share, those are downloadable on the website valentinaesl.com. I want to tell you that I graduated from high school. My brother did not. When we are intentional and deliberate about the services and instruction for our ELs, then all of them receive excellence and not just some of them. So we have to design that excellence for them. Let's continue to collaborate and design it. I love this PLN because of your passion and desire to do just that. And here's my contact information. Thank you for the tremendous work you do. I'm honored to be part of this PLN. So continue to connect with me and learn together. Emily, I'm going to hand it back over to you so we can go to our next part.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Here am I tweeting all these notes, and people are coming in, joining us. You probably got the time wrong. I keep saying it's 7 Eastern. I'm sorry. But thank you for all that you shared. You know, one of my takeaways here is the word walls. You know, it's just for students to come in and, like you said, it screams at them, hey, you belong. I love that, because they can understand that they have that connection, especially if they created it, right? So that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. I do want to take maybe 5 minutes for Q&A before we go into breakout sessions. So if you have a question that can benefit the whole group, it's only 21 of us, go ahead and unmute yourself, ask your question, and Valentina will answer that question for you. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Emily. Sorry to be a bit late. I couldn't find the link.
That's okay. That's okay. Again, if you have a question, go ahead and ask your question. If not, we'll go into breakout sessions, and I'm sure Valentina can bounce around too. Or yeah, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Go for it.
So I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you
No,
call
go
on
ahead.
Go ahead.
Go.
Okay. So I was on a middle school campus for like 9 years. And I've done elementary, and I'm at a junior senior high school campus now. And it feels like there's no time for that. Some of this stuff feels like a luxury with, I feel a lot of pressure to give my kids as much English as possible because they're already 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. And they're SIFE newcomers by and large. And I have 20 newcomers for 42 minutes a day. And that's our whole ESL block. And I'm supposed to be teaching ELA at the same time, which I don't. And I would love to develop a lot of the kinds of things you're talking about, and I have in the past, but it just feels so rushed that I don't know, like I just want to give them as much English as I can, and they're struggling the rest of the day. And the teachers are not using sheltered instruction. The admin in theory encourages it. In practice, they give us a 20-minute block in a faculty meeting, and then they walk out the door when we start talking. So like they're not trained. It's just, anyway, what advice do you have for high school with this many beginners?
It sounds like you are doing so much, Betsy, and you have such an important job. I do believe in definitely quality over quantity. And so taking those small steps and just thinking about what you want your students to achieve. overall in the year, and then also looking at it in a smaller scope on a weekly or daily time frame, stepping back, and also thinking about the investment piece of it. When we invest, it's harder, you don't see a lot going on, but in the end, you're going to see that growth happen because of the investment we put into it. And so I'm not sure which part was challenging, which part you think will be challenging or is a struggle, whether it's the word walls, or that's what I'm imagining would probably be the struggle. Or
So if I had my own classroom, word walls would be lovely. And I do for math, and I have word walls. That part for me is the easier part. It's valuing their home language. They speak Spanish all day long. They speak Spanish to each other all day long. Like there's very little, they make very little effort to understand English because the other teachers are not doing comprehensible input.
mm-hmm.
And a lot of my kids, especially those who have less education, they don't understand anything about school.
I think
So
maybe
finding comprehensible input when the teacher's talking a mile a minute and doesn't even use any visuals, like my kids are just sitting there going,
yeah. I think one thing that you can focus on is cognates, since they do know if they have a strong Spanish background and they are capable of communicating and they use a lot of Spanish, they're in high school especially, there's such an opportunity to show them the power of cognates and using cognates in instruction. And so that does value their first language, and they can see those connections as well. That would be one place to start, creating those experiences where they can bridge the two languages and also see the differences in English and Spanish too.
Thank you, Valentina.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jessa, go right ahead.
I don't want to take away from the breakout time, but I just had a quick question. And well, I don't know if it's a quick question, but just a thought. We're running into, and I don't know if it's a similar thing like Becky, but sometimes, and like I think there is an embracing of the majority of our students are all Spanish speaking. We have a few Arabic speaking in our school. But what happens is the teachers sometimes in the classroom, they just give them Google Translate, and then it's kind of like it gets pushed off to the side. Do you know what I mean? Where I think there is a value of the language, but now that we have so many tech resources, we're running into how much is too much translating and it's off of the teacher. Do you know what I mean? So like where you find that right balance.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, definitely. And also you have to consider, I don't know what, Jessa, did you say what grade you're working with?
I teach middle school.
And you have to think about whether or not that translation is going to be valuable to middle school students. When you're thinking about middle and high school students, using translation may not be as valuable as we may think it would be, because they may not know those words in their first language either.
Exactly.
So if we translate it, they may have never encountered that word in their first language because it's new information to them in any language.
Mm-hmm.
So as students get older, that translation, it doesn't always support their comprehension of the new content.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hear that struggle quite a bit about over translating and when do we draw the line and how do we translate, what is the appropriate amount of translation. It's definitely something you have to take a case by case with students and look at all of their information. You know, what are they needing that support, how much support, and weaning them away from that translation as well.
Yeah, Well, that is something I feel like that's a little bit, we're slowly getting there. So I feel like that's the encouragement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're
take it
learning
case by
too,
case. Yeah.
as us, we're learning as well as we go along. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, we have 3-4 minutes. If you want to just log off, it's up to you. But we enjoy breakout rooms, so I am going to go ahead and open breakout rooms. Maybe you can discuss amongst yourself. I just placed the link in the chat for you to add. If you're at the elementary or the middle school, the high school, please add any links, any chat that you have that it can benefit the other grade levels. Please go ahead and add that. So grab that link, having you group, delegate one person who can do the notes. That way we can all have access to that. So before you go into your breakout rooms, get a hold of that link I just placed in the chat. And then I'll pull you back here to say your goodbyes.
Okay.
I do have 2 breakouts, is the elementary and the middle school. The high school, I would like for you to stay here with me. So if you're elementary, please choose that. Middle school, go ahead and do that. But you always leave me here by myself. So today I want to join. I was thinking, I was like, I need to start joining this breakout conversations. So high school, you can go ahead and stay here with me, which is going to end up being like 2 or 3 of us. Oh, Carol, you made it.
I did. I'm sorry. My family had something come up. And so I'm sorry I missed a lot of it. But I'm glad to be here now.
I'm glad you are. Yes. Broadcast virtual rooms. Hold. Got it. All right. All right. So if you are here in the main room, this is just for high school. But if you are having trouble making it to elementary or middle school, let me know and I'll send you there. Are we all high school here?
I think so.
Carol, Monica, good job. All right, so Carol, I'm glad you are here joining us because I'm not sure if I think you missed it, but Betsy had some great questions that I think made a lot of us think about. Betsy, if I'm quoting your question right, is it's hard when you have so many newcomers trying to accelerate their English acquisition, but then you have teachers who are not providing the content accessible for students, right, Betsy? And so we were having that discussion about how do we go about doing that? We feel like we're asked to do so much.
And I have 20 of them not in an ESL classroom for only 42 minutes a day. It's
right.
Yeah,
we can.
When Betsy was talking, I was thinking about Carol's book.
Oh, me too. No, me too. And when she asked to join, I was like, she's here, like right on time.
Well,
yeah, so share your wisdom with us.
No, I mean, I just learn everywhere I go, and we have a lot of schools out there where kids are learning very quickly, and they don't have an ESL class at all. Especially when they're older. When they're older, and this is not ideal. My strong recommendation is an ESL class so that we can devote some time to supporting the students' understanding of how to accelerate their language acquisition. And so, I didn't see my kids every day, and I didn't feel like I needed to see them every day. And I didn't, it wasn't how many minutes a day I had them. It was, what did I do when I saw them? What did I explain to them to do? What kind of meta awareness did they have walking around? Did they understand how English works, how to get, what to do on their own? I'm sure all of you can think, if you had a really motivated student, what would they be doing when they weren't with you that it's not even hard to do that could accelerate their language acquisition? They might be listening to music, or when they're watching YouTube, they put on the closed captioning, and not that they're working hard at it, but they have the awareness when words are going across the screen that they're seeing things, and even just their own mindset about how they're gaining language. I find that way more powerful than more minutes a day in an ESL classroom. It's like, what do we empower them to do? And I see lots of schools and using advisory time, using after school time, using clubs, using lunch buddies, holding the kids in high regard. Those 20 kids next year are going to be 20 second year kids. And what are we planning for them to be able to do in their second year that would help the new ones next year? Getting them prepared or showing them this year. I just see so many things like that are kind of out of the box. It's not ideal, Betsy. I know you're a veteran at this, and it probably hurts your heart because they should be getting more. They should be getting dedicated time to language acquisition. But when we don't have that, it's not like there's no hope for those students. And it sounds like there's two different things that we would be worried about. One is, how are they surviving their biology class, or their US history class? And is it being accommodated? Like Emily said, if it's not,
No, the teachers and so in science, over half of them have basically a bilingual physics class.
Nice.
Where the teacher is fully bilingual and is supporting, but doesn't know much about ESL strategies.
Okay. But is at least getting them the content comprehensible.
I'm the math teacher for 3/4 of them.
Well, yay.
And I'm doing the best that I can. You've seen my math. I'm teaching that junior high math class. I'm teaching it to high school.
You're doing so much, Betsy.
I'm confident with that. But the English, I feel like I haven't done reading groups, and there's so much that I'm not doing because they're really not independent.
I know. But you know what? We also need to think about, time marches on. And of course, they could be learning English more quickly. But we can also look at some very small moves, but every single day, over 188, over the rest of their lives, English would come. One sentence a day, that's what I mean, making sure they understand. Really, the thing that's going to accelerate their language the fastest, according to Krashen, is more reading. So we can't think that they can't be independent with the reading when technology is out there, right? They can, if we show them, like that 5-minute video I made with News and Levels. It's a paragraph. News and Levels is a paragraph. And so they may not be able to read it. And my kids didn't have literacy in their native language.
Right.
If they chose the story because they like the picture, and they could Google image, and they could figure something they really want to read, they can figure out. And so if I only have them once a week for a few minutes, I'm going to think, what is my biggest bang for the buck thing? Let's say next week I had them once after school, during school, whatever. I pulled them together. Off the top of my head, I'm going to think, if I have them for 20 minutes, I'm going to do a shared writing about what you can do on your own. It's going to be about brainstorming with them. What can we do when we're on our own? Like, kids can start making their own alphabet based on their own environmental print, like McDonald's and, Starbucks and things like that.
That's what Valentina was sharing, about the multicultural, multilingual walls that can help students.
But even if they don't have any ESL time, you're right, Emily, anything we can do with them.
Yes.
So the less time I have with them, the more I'm focusing on how to take ownership of your learning. And it's not equitable. They shouldn't have to teach themselves, but they should understand that the more you read, the faster your English is going to come. And everybody can read right now, be read too. Their listening comprehension is coming faster than their reading comprehension usually.
I do have RAS kids with the read aloud on the assigned books.
Do they want to read those stories? Are they self-selected?
They are allowed to self-select. They
That's-
tend to yak with each other and and click every so often.
Yeah, it's this combination of giving them as much print as possible, and even a more complex text can be made comprehensible by telling them you don't have to read this whole book. Let me tell you what it's about. It's about a kid who made a journey through a refugee camp or whatever it's about. If they're interested in it, I will tell them the whole story and then show them how to use one page to find high frequency words and to listen to it, and just sort of show them how the more you do of this, the more you're going to be able to independently do it. And, and then but I really like to co-create a piece of text with them, maybe about their lives, maybe about how fast you can learn, maybe about the fact that you're becoming multilingual, and ask them to read it and reread it. I mean, but it's got to be about something they care about.
Mhm.
And then I'm sorry, go ahead, Betsy.
We did a little bit about that with the World Cup in Argentina.
That's awesome.
And
That's really awesome.
But then they read it to each other in Spanish.
Which is good.
And
It's
then we
good.
wrote it.
Anyone else here would have something you like to add?
Any ideas, you guys? Jennifer?
Yeah, please
Monica?
share. Monica, what do you have?
I took my kids to the public library.
Nice.
Yes, yes.
In order to get a Libby app on their phones.
Nice.
They are reading or listening in the language of their choice. It's either Spanish. Most of my students are from Honduras, or they can read or listen in English.
Yes.
I'm
gonna add this to the page. I've been adding notes for us, by the way. Keep going, Monica.
I did this before Christmas, and it maybe not all of them will read, but they all have that possibility. They have that option. You know, it's
That's
on them.
fantastic.
And the books there are various level books. You can play with the settings, and you can choose easier books for juveniles. You can choose picture books. It's there. It's available. And more they read, faster they learn.
That's right.
Agreed.
And if they know that, if they understand, it's going to help with their motivation. If they understand, okay, if you read for 5 minutes a day, how many words are you going to see? If you read for 10 minutes, how many words are you going to see? And those little bitty words, the tiny words, make up half of what we pick up. And so you could be getting those very quickly. Every day you understand more English. But are your eyes going across text so that you see the words you're starting to acquire? And it doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be a lot.
Yes.
It's like more, less stressful reading. But it's got to be of interest, or they're going to not be interested.
And Betsy, ultimately, don't see anything you do as a wasted day or a wasted time.
No.
Language my only battle with teachers is that language acquisition has a process, and we need to respect that process. That's even the WIDA has the process from pictures to word to sentence, because that's the way language acquisition works. Welcome back, everyone. So high school here, we're discussing. Carol's here with us. Hopefully you took notes, but Betsy, anything you do and everything you're doing, believe that your students are quoting Carol Selva, Dr. Carol Selva, every day they're learning English. Right, Carol?
I mean, even if you can't tell, if they're in that environment, you're starting to at least start to comprehend.
Right. Yes.
We just want to respect that.
Absolutely.
Betsy, you're doing so much. Yes. I just know you have like these super high standards.
Which is good. Those standards need to stay high.
Yeah,
Valentina, how was your group? Lots of learning?
Yes, we talked about so many amazing things they're doing at their elementary level, and just, I mean, amazing. Sandy and Jennifer are fabulous.
Great, great. I hope you took notes. I was at the high school level making notes. Middle school, how did it go? Who was there? Jessa, did you take any notes? Right, Rachel, did you take any notes? Oh my goodness, y'all are killing me.
We're middle school teachers, but no.
That's the only grade level I have not experienced yet. I'm not sure I want to do that.
Oh, it's
Listen,
awesome.
guys, this is 12 minutes past the time. This is amazing. These conversations are great. We're still live. I wanted this Q&A to be streamed live, and now this breakout session at the high school level was also streamed live. And I'm going to do that every time we meet. I'm going to keep one of the breakout sessions in the big room, so those who are watching live can experience what it is to be in that small breakout session. But let's get back to our families. I need to put my little one to bed. And I need to finish my ponche. Those of you that know what ponche is, it got cold. I got to go heat it up again. But Valentina Gonzalez, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your time with us. And I've got my notes. I got my Twitter hashtag burning. Thank you so much for joining us. This group is an amazing group of teachers who are just passionate, looking around for ways to better their practice. And I am so honored to have you here today. Carol Salva and everyone else, thank you for joining us tonight. Love you, and please share this link with everyone else, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you. Thanks for having
Happy
me.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Y'all are
Thank you. Happy New Year.
amazing.
Hey, if you come out with your
Yeah.
one word for 2023, make sure you use the hashtag PLC4 number 4 newcomers and share with me, okay? Love you guys. Thank
Love
you for
y'all.
everything you do. Bye.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you,
Bye.
Emily.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
Carol.